Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to repair the hinge on this HP Pavilion laptop, model 15-EG0073CL. Alright, so let me show you that. Alright, so obviously the first thing we need to do is remove this bezel. If your hinge is broken, it's probably already pushing it out and you'll have to fix that. I do have videos showing how to remove this bezel on other ones. I already pulled the adhesive and it's very similar to all the other models, so I'm just going to pull this out and kind of show you what it looks like underneath, and then you're basically going to get the same idea, same way that you would repair it as my other hinge repair videos. So we're not actually going to be replacing the hinges. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be holding down the hinges with JB Weld or epoxy. As you can see right now, there's these screws holding it and they have plastic. The problem with this is it's multiple pieces of like material here. So the backing here is like a thin metal, and then they have plastic that holds in the screws using stuff like this. Okay, oops, sorry. So it's using stuff like this, so you can see the plastic holds these little, whatever you want to call those, washer, rivets, whatever things. Okay, so it holds those, and then the plastic basically breaks away from the metal backing, as you can see, and now this hinge is kind of just loose, not being held down with anything. In this model, there were 3 screws here and 1 screw there. I did have to hold the hinge down, open up the laptop so I can get a screwdriver and unscrew the screws from there, as well as using some pliers behind to hold it. If the plastic's broken a lot, you can even just pry the screws out and the plastic will break apart and come out. But we also have this screw here that one just kind of came loose, and the way we're gonna have to fix this is with some JB Weld. We're gonna mix some JB Weld. There are other glues, but JB Weld I found so far holds better than everything else. So don't try putting other types of glues unless you know for a fact it's stronger than JB Weld. Otherwise, you're going to end up with glue clogging this thing, and it's going to break again, and you're not going to be able to fix it because that glue is going to prevent the JB Weld from sticking properly. So don't mess around with other stuff unless you know for a fact it's a better glue or a better epoxy. Okay, so you do want to use the normal red and black JB Weld. Don't use like the quick weld or other putties and things that they have. Make sure to use this kind. They do have smaller tubes of this. If you don't plan to work on anything else, you can buy the small tubes, but I think this kind of epoxy is really useful to have around if you're planning to work on other things and hold things together. This epoxy works really well. Okay, and basically we're going to fill these areas, including those little holes, with JB Weld, as well as this area. You do want to be careful if you can avoid getting it on the cables, because if something breaks and you for some reason need to take the cables out, you might want to have access to that. So yeah, keep that in mind. Also, you don't want to put the JB Weld into where the screen is. You don't want the screen getting glued into place, because then if you need to replace the screen, you're going to have an issue there as well. Again, this is just a video kind of explaining how the hinge is fixed with JB Weld. And yeah, I'm going to mix it up and then I'm going to fill this stuff and show you. Also, after I fill this, I use saran wrap or a plastic wrap. Some packages, they use this, or like shipping, they wrap this all around stuff to keep it in place. I'm going to put a thin layer of that on top, so that way when we put the bezel in, it won't have the epoxy sticking to the bezel. And yeah, I'll try and show you guys that. So the mixing process and stuff isn't that important, but basically you'll get the JB Weld, make sure it's all mixed evenly, and then what I do is I put JB Weld in there, lift it up slightly to get the JB Weld to kind of flow around, as well as over here, and then we'll put the plastic wrap on top, put the bezel on, and we have to let it sit overnight for at least 15 hours. That's very important. At least 15 hours. It's best if you let it sit at least 24 hours. And then you want to check, make sure, well, you don't need to check this, but after you put the JB Weld and put the bezel, snap it all in place. Make sure that, as you can see right now, the hinge is holding itself in place. You want to make sure it's not like tilting this way or this way. And once we get it all close together and put the bezel on, we'll basically hold it in the correct position. But you want to be careful, because if you put too much JB Weld and stuff, it can overflow. You don't want it overflowing. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna mix up some JB Weld and show you. If you want to see a video on how I actually do the whole process, I don't have one for this specific model, but I do have the process on a whole bunch of Lenovo laptops and Dells and other things, because this hinge issue, it's a very common problem now, especially since they're trying to make the bezel so thin. It used to be they can run the hinge up along this way, so you can have more leverage holding the hinge in place. Now all the leverage is sideways, and it's basically like if you try and bend your finger like this, you have a lot more force than if somebody grabs your finger and like twists it this way. So pretty much these new designs with these thin bezels, it's like they're designed to fail. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna fill in some JB Weld here, and then I'll be back to show you what that looks like, put the little plastic wrap stuff on top, and then we'll get the bezel in place so that you can see how it will sit. And I'm gonna basically leave it sitting like this overnight. If you can actually even close it, but the way you do that, you'd have to like put a lot of pressure down here as you fold it, and also you need the bezel in place to hold this in place. But if you can have this hinge holding up like this on its own, it's best to do it this way, so that way all the gravity is keeping the JB Weld epoxy down here and not like leaking around or worrying about. And also if you close it, it does move a little. You don't want it to move and then squeeze out the JB Weld everywhere. If both sides are broken, you're probably going to have to end up doing something like that, or you can get like some kind of clamp that can hold it up like that, but it will be a lot more difficult. Anyways, let me get some JB Weld to fill this up, and then I'll show you guys what I do next. All right, see you guys in a bit. All right, so here's the JB Weld all mixed up, and basically we're just going to, I can't do this with one hand, and I don't have my proper camera set up right now. So anyways, we're just gonna fill this area. So let me fill that all up, and then again, like I said, I'll also lift this slightly so I can get some around the edges a little. So I'll fill this up with the JB Weld, and I'll be back. All right, see you guys in a bit. All right, so this is what it looks like with the JB Weld all in there. You can see if you lift it up, it kind of sucks some in, and we got there and there. So we're gonna now get some plastic wrap to put over this and over there, and then that way when we close it up, it won't stick to the bezel, and hopefully it will set nicely. All right, so let me go and grab some plastic wrap thing, and then I'll show you guys how I have it all wrapped up. All right, so here it is with the plastic wrap. I need to push this down under here, but I just wanted to show you how I get it. All right, so just like that, get that in. And now it's covering this so that the bezel won't get covered by this JB Weld, okay? We also wrap that one there. Now all we gotta do is put the bezel in, and then it needs to sit overnight, all right? So this bezel, once you pop it off, you can see how it kind of holds in like this, all right? And this bezel, because the hinge broke, you can see this is broken here. But basically, we'll get this in. Sorry if I'm getting bad camera angles, but we'll get that in, get that into place, okay? And get the rest of it in. And usually I like to start with the outside top edges if we can, right? So I'll push this down on the outer edge here, and it will kind of roll itself and click itself into place. So just like this. If it doesn't, you can kind of push down and then roll over that way, okay? But basically like that, going all the way down the edges. And because this one's broken, I have to be extra sure that it goes into the right place. So I do have to kind of lift this and push that in a little bit, I guess. And then I'll pinch from both sides like this, okay? You can hear it click. I will need two hands to do this, so I'm probably gonna have to stop recording at some point, but let's see here. All right, so we'll get that. And this, since it's broken, might come out in the future, but hopefully it'll be okay for the most part. Again, we're pushing on the outer edge. Same thing, click that in. Make sure that's in. All right, I'm gonna use two hands so I can put one side behind and one side, excuse me, on the front, and I'll be back. Okay, so basically I put this hand on the back here, and then I used my thumb to click it all in, and now it's good. Then we're just gonna run our way across the front here. And that's pretty much it. So again, this part is kind of popping up. I don't know if I should put some glue there because then it won't come out. So I'm probably going to get some double stick adhesive and put it there to hold this in place. Maybe along both sides so it kind of holds a little better. But other than that, that's pretty much it. We're going to leave it sitting here for 15 hours or overnight. And then we'll take a look at it in the morning. You'll see it open and close perfectly fine. All right, so I'll see you guys later. And also they cleaned off some adhesive here and then got Goo Gone in it, so it made some like streaks from that greasy stuff getting stuck under the screen. Yeah, you don't want to use any kind of liquids on or around your screen. If you do, you want to use a cloth. Make sure to squeeze it out as much so nothing can leak out, and then you can use that to wipe your screen. All right, anyways, that's it for now. I'll see you guys when it's done setting. Bye. All right, so here it is. I let it set overnight, and then I cleaned up the screen a bit. As you can see, it's a lot cleaner. And here you can see, if I hold this down, all right, Hinge is working perfectly fine. So there we go, we got that. And that's pretty much it. If you made the plastic kind of sticking out, again, since we put that, you can peel this off and then you should be able to pull that out. But I put it so where it's nice, it's all tucked in, you can't see any of the exposed, that plastic wrap that we put on top, so we should be good to leave that in there. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Hopefully you guys are able to figure out yours. Every case is a little bit different depending how it broke, and I do have a lot of videos showing how I fix these broken hinges. This one wasn't as thorough because usually what I do is I have my camera like up and then I'll be like recording the entire process. So if you want to see one of those, I do have videos where I do an entire like hinge repair. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.